Hey everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, a weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. I'm recording this pretty late at night because I forgot that I wasn't going to be able to record this on Sunday. Yeah, I'm actually going to the Final Fantasy XVI launch event in Los Angeles, and hopefully I'll have some fun videos to make when I get back. But it means I'm not going to be around Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon even to actually record this. So sorry if you asked a question on Sunday. I don't even remember if I mentioned that for last week's episode. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I've known for a while, I just didn't say anything yet, so I don't know. Or something even I haven't even put it on Twitter. But either way, I'm going to be putting out a couple of videos this week. Some on 16. I want to do a summer channel update because I want to catch everyone up to what's been going on with me, because obviously that impacts the content that's going to be on the channel. So expect some stuff along those lines, plus more Final Fantasy VII stuff, Ever Crisis, if I can get... Actually, I haven't even checked to see if I got pulled into the Ever Crisis closed beta. On top of that, of course, 16, I'm going to be flooding the channel with 16 related content over the next several weeks, no matter what, so be on the lookout. And there's still some 14 stuff, and I have some sponsored stuff. So, yeah, your boy's staying busy, okay? That's what I gotta do. But because of that, I gotta get through this Q&A, because I have to eat dinner. That would probably be wise. So, thanks to all the sponsors over on Patreon for supporting. You don't have to. My content is available completely for free on YouTube, but either way, if you want to support over there, you're more than welcome to. Same with super thanks on the channel. If you want to, go right ahead, but if not, cool, just enjoy the video. Anyway, with that, let's get into the Q&A. All right, hashtag Mondays with a happy mister. Hey, happy. Hi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you all reading this. Leaning towards evening, but I see you guessed afternoon. Not too far off. It's only 9 p.m. That's still technically after the noon. It's just, later. So this is a more lore-related question I've been generally curious about over the last few days, so I wanted another insight on this. I think it's pretty well known that Shiva and Hraesvelgr, I think I already know where this is going. Shiva and Hraesvelgr fell for one another, that Hraesvelgr devoured Shiva so their souls would be intertwined forever. Now fast forward to Shout. Yeah, okay, it's going exactly where I think it is. And so what's puzzling me. Novrant and Eorzea are like complete polar opposites, so I'm assuming Novrant has its own versions of the primals, considering what we fought in the Eden raids. Comes to Shiva and Hraesvelgr and E8S, did those same events take place in Novrant? No, the entire, and I think you actually say it here, the entire purpose of all of the summonings with Eden and why a lot of them turn out way different than we experience them on Eorzea is because we are the ones summoning them. It's based on the Warrior of Light's memories. Leviathan having 2 heads, you could probably chalk up to attacking the head and the tail during the fight. Titan turning into a car, nobody has any idea. It's assumed that those are like mixed up thoughts with like the goblins somehow because we have no idea how to channel that. Ifrit and Shiva both being these kind of like similar-ish beings to each other. Ramu being half Ixion. That's all because of our memories. All of that defines our memories. That Hraesvelgr is entirely born of our memories. Every place can have a primal. That's something that's totally possible. But in this particular case, it's a completely unrelated thing. It's Eden's just using our memories. Hashtag Mrhappy Mondays. Hey Haps, hope all is well and this message finds you well rested. I hope I look well rested. Man, I think it was 2 weeks ago where people said I looked ghastly in death. I hope I look better now. I fixed my lighting a little bit, so it doesn't look like that as much. And so, I'm looking okay. Good. Probably not with that face, though. I remember in a previous video you mentioned that for 16, you'd probably use a controller setup where the sword and the magic are set to the shoulder buttons. Can you elaborate on what you think the optimal button placement might be? So I'm waiting to get my hands on it again with the demo to really get a feel for it. But the big thing is that you definitely want one of the two to be on a shoulder button. I'm probably leaning towards L1 personally. But the idea is that you want to be able to very easily choose when you're holding those buttons or to hold them both simultaneously. And if they're both on square and triangle, you're probably going to be either doing this with like a claw grip or you're going to have to make a decision about which you're holding. And very rarely will you ever pull off combos where you hold them both. Quite frankly, there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody needs to be like these ultra high-end players that like remap everything or hold the controller in weird ways. It's whatever, you could still have fun with it. But as somebody who looks back on my Devil May Cry 5 experiences, and actually not just that, but even my previous Devil May Cry experiences, I find myself often just looking for ways to optimize on whatever I think is the best way to go about defeating enemies. And given the experience I had at the media event, I felt like once I got my rhythm with messing around with the held buttons and getting a lot more combos off that way. I mean, I can tell you right now, the boss fight from the February one, the dungeon with Benedicta at the end, I destroyed her. I absolutely obliterated that fight. She landed maybe a hit or two at the very beginning, but once I staggered her once, the fight was over. She never got back up to do anything but a cutscene attack again after that. And that's going to be a very different experience from what a lot of people have who are less experienced with things like that. So I just think one of them being on, and probably the ranged attack, to be honest, on one of the shoulder buttons is probably the way to go. Hashtag Max Melee Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey yo, Haps. Hey yo. As someone who's been in a plethora of World First groups, what advice would you have for someone trying to break through that glass ceiling? I was in a World First raid static that unfortunately disbanded through drama and missed my opportunity to add week 1 clear to my raid resume, so I was unsure. Yeah, you generally shoot for week 1 groups first. So if you are someone who has never done a World Prog level Prog, World Race level Prog is what I should have said. Going right into that without a week 1 clear, how do I put this? There's a few red flags that a group would even accept you if you don't have that experience, because that is something any absolutely serious World Prog group will want. They will want to know that somebody has week 1 experience, that they have consistent performance across multiple fights. They are quick to learn. And I mean, some of this is learned from things like logs or videos, and some of this is learned from trials and experience. And so generally you kind of work your way up the ladder. You get your clears very quickly. You maybe party finder a bunch so that you can hone your skills, or at least have lots of data points available for you for any prospective groups looking. And then you kind of try to break into the week 1 clear group, and then you try to break into the World Prog group. So normally it's a several month endeavor where you're kind of working your way up. Now there is of course the chance that you could find yourself in a situation where you're in a World Prog group and it just kind of works out even though you've never done one before. But that being said, a lot of groups would have asked you for the previous experience. So it's just like, it kind of looks like a red flag to someone who's done those a lot of times before, to just accept someone with absolutely not the experience that you would expect, and to just be like, yeah, we're going to grab them and that's going to work. So that's what my advice would be, to climb up the ladder, logically. And if you have the chance to skip a step, give it a shot. But generally, yeah, you want to be adding that week 1 clear onto the resume and then working from that point on to make sure that your skills are up to snuff. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Haps. Hi. With this expansion, we've seen how easy it is to save runs with excessive timely raises. If SC just increased the MP cost on the raise to 4K, do you think that would be a significant jump to justify buffing Red Mage? No, I think as long as Red Mage has unlimited raises in every content, it'll never matter. It needs to like wipe you out. Or here's the problem: you need to make a res reasonable. You need to make multiple reses unreasonable. 3,000 MP is enough to make multiple reses unreasonable. But the big thing is that it's also just the right value to save more casual content like alliance raids and stuff if you can manage to stay alive. So that's really the problem that you run into, is having a job like Red Mage in the game when easy content where people can die still is available. 24-mans, even trials and stuff like in trial roulettes and whatnot. Like, it's great to have Red Mage, Eureka, Bojda, places like that. It's amazing. The problem becomes when that same amount of raising actually helps you get through endgame encounters, and then you can kind of zombie through it without people really learning all the way. Like, yeah, maybe a healer LB3 saves the day at the end. That's one thing. But the Red Mage, like, single-handedly pulling you through to the finish line, or even pulling you close to the finish line, is just... having the ability to do that is what hinders them, I think. It's not even necessarily a bad thing. It's just that I think it hinders them. So I think you specifically need to look at limiting raises in high-end content and not limiting raises in the rest of the game, where it shouldn't even be a remote factor. Oh, if a bunch of people die in a 24-man and you res them all, great, you're the hero. And I don't think that needs to change. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Well met, Mr. Happy. Hi. If you ever feel like going out to eat but want to eat something healthier, what restaurant would you go to and what would you order? If I'm going out to eat, health is thrown out the window, man. Like, the healthiest you'll see me go eat in a healthy option is sushi, and I'm just going to have rice. So much rice is going in me because I won't even do sashimi. I'll just have rice, and rice. Like, it's just, like, there's going to be rice in everything I eat. Like, I'm not skipping the rice. The rice is like what brings it all together, So that's like the healthiest you'll ever go. But once I've decided I'm going out to a restaurant, it's like I don't care. It's like I am very, very conscious about what goes in my body throughout the rest of my days and my life, that I can't be asked to care about one meal. Life's too short to be that strict about it. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Hey, Happy. Hi. Hope you're well. Thanks. You too. Been diving into Monk again recently and practicing the rotation for if I ever needed to switch to a melee and a static. I'm quite confused with the burst windows, though, because I was expecting Phantom Rush to be in the big 2-minute buff alignment window, but it seems to be on the odd minutes in between, unless I'm doing it wrong, which I'm hoping can help me out. I would advise that if you're looking at the balance that you scroll down. Because there are openers that allow you to get Phantom Rush. Your first Phantom Rush won't be till 2 minutes in, but it'll align with all of the 2-minute buff windows. Depending on the fight, most of the time, going with the odd minute Phantom Rushes is fine. The main reason being is that the potency difference isn't significant. Plus, the deliberate lack of a Phantom Rush on the odd minutes means that you may actually lose potency across the fight. The big determining factor for Monk is how long the fight is. If doing the even numbered, if a fight is just long enough to get you the same number of even minute Phantom Rushes as you would odds if you did it the other way, that's when the other rotation, the double light opener, is going to be better. But if you would lose a Phantom Rush setting it on the 2-minute mark, like a fight that's, let's say, 7 minutes and 30 seconds or 9 minutes and 30 seconds long, something in that vicinity, then you would go for the odd minute Phantom Rushes because it gets you an extra one versus what you would have had. So that's a matter of just differences in rotation depending on the fight. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi, Haps. Hi. I had an expansion question. Okay. Usually the 14 team likes to tease us as to where the next expansion is going to take place, but I'm having a hard time trying to figure it out. Are they hinting that where we're going to go to the 13th? I think you have to look back at the end of Endwalker itself, because pretty explicitly given some options by name, and we're probably going to 1 or 2 of those locations. So I would say, yeah, rewatch the end of Endwalker. That's my advice. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Oh, you're right. It's Saturday for me right now. Hey, Happy. I have 5 words to say. Make Stardiver like Primal Rend. You're still going to die. It's not going to save you. Also, actual question. Any idea on who the mage in P9 might be? I think it is assumed that they are bosses from the Crystal Tower. That the mage is Scylla and the martialist is Glazia, while the behemoth is the behemoth from the Crystal Tower. There's nothing conclusive to say that or to be like, yes, that's absolutely how it is. But I think that is the going theory at the moment. Whether or not it's true, who knows? Hashtag Mondays Happy with Mr. Hey, Haps. Hi. Longtime viewer. Welcome. First time asker. Hey. I was a big fan of Record Keeper. Rest in peace, Global. And while I've been enjoying War of the Visions for the Final Fantasy Tactics itch, it just doesn't hit the mark. And I think a lot of what I'm missing is how amazing Record Keeper's remixes were. Do you have a favorite Record Keeper remix? Final Fantasy XIV Garuda. I also really like the Decisive Battle one. Actually, a lot of the ones in Theater Rhythm are some of my favorites. They actually picked like some of the best ones they could have picked. The Decisive Battle one, I have distinct memories. One of the last things I did before I stopped playing Record Keeper, which was some years ago before it shut down, was actually the Boundless Nemesis encounter. So Nemesis from Final Fantasy X, but on the Boundless difficulty. I waited till all of the unlocks were done for it, so that way it was, I could do whatever I wanted in there. But yeah, I have nightmares of that song, but it's a really good remix. That being said, I do think that the Garuda, the Final Fantasy XIV Garuda remix is at my top. Hashtag day that ends in a Y with Mr. Happy. I like that. Hello there. Hi. As someone who doesn't do high-end content like Savage or even Extreme, I've been wondering whether there have been fights that are more enjoyable with a static compared to PF, or even a rare case of the opposite. I think everything's more fun with a static. I guess it kind of depends. I think everything's more fun with a static. And that's because I'd rather get in and get out. I don't like to just hang around and die and wipe a bunch. Like, it's just not, that's not fun to me. Even if you're joking around and having fun, and just it just doesn't do it for me necessarily. So for me, it comes down to everything's always more fun than static, assuming the static is of a high caliber of play. That being said, some people revel in the chaos that is Party Finder, meaning they do not care if they win. They are there for the comedy that comes out. And oh boy, is there comedy. Let me tell you. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hey, Happy. Hi. Hope your day is going well. Same. So I recently got asked to join a friend's raid static as DPS. While I'm competent on Dragoon, I haven't done proc since Final Coil and only occasionally done Savage on content. My question is, how's the current raid difficulty compared to Coil? Nothing compares to Coil. And I don't mean that like Coil's way harder. I mean, it is such a different kind of raid that you honestly can't compare the two. Like, go back and watch like a fight in Coil, and then look at what we have now. And it's like, bro, Bahamut's Mega Flares are like a dungeon mechanic now. You know? So it's just, they're not even comparable. That being said, if you've done any sort of rating on a competent level, that would normally mean that you are, in essence, competent, even if rusty. Thus, you'll probably pick it up fine, and I wouldn't worry about it. Hashtag Mondays with Mr. Happy. Salutations, Haps. Hello. Fates have been with us from the moment we joined the beta until the dawn of the present day. Expansion in, expansion out. It's always fates. We need them for relics. We need them for gems. Sometimes they package them as a nostalgia fate. Other times as trench warfare. And very occasionally as a unique get your mount special fate. But by and large, they are the same fates, the same structures, mechanics, concepts we've had since 2013. Nothing is even tangibly different about them mechanically, except for the mobs you fight. Even their base music hasn't changed. My question is, when will we ever outgrow the fate? Can it evolve? Will it end? When will Yuna stop dancing? No, they're going to be the same forever. That's the honest truth. They're never going to change. Unless they do things like Bozja once in a while, you know, where they have the skirmishes or the critical engagements. Like, that's it. They're never going to change. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Good day, sir. Good day. Do you have any tips on how to better keep track of dots on the boss like the ones from Healers, Black Mage, or Reapers? They are high up next to the boss HP, but when I pull the bar down, I clutter my screen with all kinds of debuffs. You can set yours to be the first one. And that's the only one you should care about. Like, nobody else's matter. So just, just set yours. It's one of the settings that's out there. Yeah, just set yours to be the first one. And then just, I don't know, I just look at it. I don't do anything else, so that's all I got. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. Hi, Haps. Hi. Hope you're doing well. Doing great. Do you think we're going to get any button squishes anytime soon? No, we're probably going to remain at about the same amount of buttons for pretty much ever. I absolutely love 14, but I often struggle with most jobs by 70 onward due to the amount of extra buttons that get added. I was a casual, comfortable in Heavensward 2 hotbars. Unfortunately, I feel limited to playing either summoner. Heavensward had way more bloat than we have nowadays. So if you were okay with Heavensward, then I don't know what the issue is now, because our hotbars were way larger for everything but like Paladin. Paladin's hotbars have gotten ridiculous. But yeah, no, Heavensward's pretty notorious for atrociously overbloated hotbars. But no, you're probably looking at about the maximum number. Honestly, Paladin could use some trimming. Samurai could probably use some trimming. But you're looking at probably about the number you should expect for pretty much ever, unless they do a rework that brings things in line with like Summoner or Machinist in terms of total buttons. Hashtag Mr. Happy Mondays. What's up, Happy? Hi. Just wanted your opinion on something that's been bugging me in new Final Fantasy games. I want to know if it's just me or something other people care about. I mean, the new Final Fantasy games can't compete when it comes to soundtrack. Yeah, that's definitely a you problem. New games feel like they have a grand but bland orchestral soundtrack. So things like Remake, I have to lower the in-game voices to even hear these updated tracks I grew up with all over mid-battle talking to do. Would love your thoughts. Yeah, that's it. That's a you problem. 13, amazing soundtrack. 14, amazing soundtrack. 15, fantastic soundtrack. 16, so I got nothing. That's a you problem. Hashtag Happy Mondays with Mr. Hey there, Happy Mister. Hi. I'm curious, have you played every single Final Fantasy? No, I haven't played some of the mobile ones, some of the really old like Game Boy ones that are technically not Final Fantasy games. I haven't played all the Crystal Chronicle games. I can't stomach playing Type 0. It genuinely made me sick with the motion blur when it came out. And since then, my like feelings on it are skewed because like I think about that experience. It kind of ruins the current experience. Not to mention, I'm not going to lie, Type 0 is like really boring to play. There's like 2 good characters that are actually somewhat fun. It's like Ace and maybe 3. Was it Ace 7 and is it Queen is the other one? Yeah, I couldn't finish that game. There's no way I would play that game 3 times over. At Crystal Chronicles, I played the remaster of Crystal Chronicles at the very least, and that was a game. It was certainly a game that was on the GameCube. So yeah, I've heard that the other Crystal Chronicle games are better than the original, so maybe one day. No, I haven't played a bunch of them, but I mean, I've played a lot of them. Hashtag Mr. Savage. Oh my goodness, this is a block of text. Hey there, at Mr. Happy127. How you doing? I'm doing all right. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. That's a lot of text with not a lot of spaces between them. So what are your thoughts on high-end players? So myself? Because I am a high-end player, such as those on the most recent Mog Talk. And oh yeah, and yourself, discouraging or ruining the experience for the majority of players. That being the average to casual. I got to read this whole thing. I'm already going to have an aneurysm. My thoughts and reasoning below. I like your take more than the guys on Mog Talk, okay? You're kind of dissing on P11 too, but doing it more in a friendly manner. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, I am presenting it more normally in that video, but it's not that good of a fight. I mean, I say it's only good if you didn't play Shadowbringers. If you played Shadowbringers, it's automatically worse. So guys are like completely crapping on saying that it was good or it was okay, but they were constantly complaining it wasn't hard enough. They did swap to... They did say to swap 11 and 10. Yeah, that's fine. But the majority of us aren't here to play ultra hardcore puzzle games. It's an MMO, not a puzzle game. I mean, yeah, but to beat a boss, you need to learn how it works and put the pieces together. And it's a high-end raid, which is like the point. I'm sure I speak for a fairly sizable quantity when I say I feel a bit insulted and discouraged when you end-game top-tier people are belittling the tier's mechanics regardless of its accuracy. In addition, I personally feel highly discouraged to play my preferred role of healer when trolls or people with a valid point... Oh, wait. When trolls or people with a valid point is the things at top that apparently you can compete without healers. Completely invalidating my preferred... Okay, so I'm going to tell you what your problem is. You care too much about what other people say. It doesn't matter in this and life. As long as you're not hurting somebody, have your own fun. Who cares what anyone else thinks? But I'm going to tell you right now, if I have a thought on something, based on my expert experience with it, I'm going to say it. And if I'm going to shit on it, I'm going to shit on it. And it's as would anyone else. So, that's it. Hashtag New Week Plus with Mr. Happy. Debated greeting with an aloha, but I'm sure you have your hands full of just one, so I'm going to go with a simple hi. Appreciate it. So hi! As for the question, do you think a stagger mechanic on bosses would be better or healthier for the game instead of 2-minute burst windows we have now, or are we too far gone at this point? It would not be healthier, because then you'd be timing staggers to interrupt mechanics. Or the boss would have to have staggers that are very specifically timed, which they already kind of do. There's always points in a fight where a boss literally just auto attacks, and those are like the closest you're going to get to a stagger. We have it in Rathalos, and I find it weird that it's isolated to just that one encounter. It's isolated to Rathalos because it's a Monster Hunter mechanic in a Monster Hunter fight. That's all it is. No, that's not a good idea, because then literally, okay, two things would have to happen. One of two things, actually. Number one, they would have to design every boss with unstaggerable attacks, which is weird, because then that defeats the whole purpose of trying to align a burst window with any sort of window. Second, you have to forego that, and you still have to bounce the entire thing around the stagger existing. So all you're doing is giving the players a chance to beat up on that. I also am worried that it would encourage players to just play like shit between burst windows. Like, oh, you know, it's fine. It's not in a stagger window, so it's fine. And then they need to balance around how many stagger windows there are. And then no, that's way more of a disaster than a 2-minute burst window is, to be honest. Bonus, I've seen you talk about direct crits on Sam in some videos and on stream, but I'm pretty sure Madari and Namakiri are just regular crits and not direct. I'm pretty sure they're direct crits. I'm almost certain they're direct crits. And you know what? Fortunately, the internet exists. I thought I was logged into the game. Samurai Final Fantasy XIV job guide. Double bonus, what's your favorite PvE and PvP limit break? I gotta go with Monk on both. I love the Monk limit breaks. I love both of them so much. All right, so let's see. Why question when we can just do this? Ogie, oh yeah, it delivers a critical hit. You're right. Yeah, which is fine because all the same, so you're all right. It is just the auto crit, and the direct hit is the random aspect of it. That being said, my point still stands in that the damage variance is incredibly low. Critical hit rate is the stat that actually scales exponentially. So the more crit you have and the more crit debuffs you have. Something I also forgot is that they made freaking all the crit buffs actually increase crit damage as well. Yeah, so, I mean, the point still stands, but yeah, direct hit is still some variance, but it's way less variance than all the other major DPS jobs have. All right, and fortunately, that actually is a short Q&A for the week. A lot of various comments, one talking about, like, just, I guess, the Ancients as, like, characters. Someone saying P10 is dog shit as a tank. I don't know, every tank I've talked with loves it, so it's kind of a surprise. How do you swap from controller to monk? Wait, from controller to monk? You mean, like... Do you mean like 2-controller playing monk? I mean, that just takes practice. There's nothing more to that. Eat, sleep, eat, fight, eat, fight. Yeah, someone's saying the automated litter box. Yeah, I'm not going to bother. Like, yeah, I'm not going to actually get one. I actually was worried about that too. Ivy would never go near an automated litter box. Absolutely, ever. Someone's saying they thought I had it backwards, that Nier is canon to 14 and AU for Nier. No, it is very canon to Nier. It is very canon to Nier and not canon at all to Final Fantasy 14. Which they have said multiple times that actual straight up collaboration events are not canon. And that the exception to that is the Ivalice raids, which are not a collaboration in terms of like Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy Tactics collaboration event. They just have an Ivalice equivalent in Final Fantasy 14 and brought on the guy who made Ivalice to make sure that it is correct and fleshed out. Sir, fleshed out. No, don't flush it out. That's what the Garleans tried to do. Don't do that. Someone's saying that 16's combat's more in line with Dragon's Dogma. With the cooldowns part, kind of. But the rest, disagree as someone who's played it. Some people answering the dance partner question from last week, which is good because, like I said, I haven't really paid much attention. I just know who to do it to in my party. And it's often just based on who has the most gear, who got the weapon, etc., which then you make sure is the job that's going to be getting dance partnered. So Red Mage needs to get an identity of damage because good Lord. And those are all the questions for this week's episode of Mondays with Mr. Happy. Thank you for watching. Be sure to ask your questions in the comment section of the video below. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And ladies and gentlemen, next time you see me, I will have played 16 for the second time, which isn't that big a deal, but cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next week. And until then, take care.